So I've been using this tretinoin prescription cream. I think it's cute. I get kind of like this pulsing burning sensation whenever sunlight touches my face. Alright, hi fairies. So I don't know if you can tell, but I do be looking a little bit well lit in this video. I finally got a ring light.
She has arrived. Isn't it absolutely stunning?
I'm officially a beauty influenza now. Also, welcome to all the new people subscribing to me. I just want to say hello and welcome.
How y'all doing?
So in this video, we're going to be analyzing certain patterns in speech. I know a lot of people are saying they're just done with the tea and they don't want to hear anything else about it.
I am done with the tea.
That is why this video isn't really going to be focused on the drama. It's more going to be focused on an analysis of certain strategies deployed in these certain videos or speeches. We're really just going to be looking at the art of persuasion and the various tactics used in these videos. And I'm hoping that you'll leave this video knowing a few more terms and terminology. You may very well need to articulate your feelings, especially in a debate. The textbook I'm going to be citing in this video is actually a free open source textbook you can find online. You can download it for free on the website publicspeakingproject.org. It's also the speech textbook I used back when I was taking speech a few semesters ago, back when they were still offering lectures. So the structure of this video is the following. Firstly, we're going to be looking at Jeffree Star's Instagram story posted on June 19th. Then Jenna Marble's video posted on June 26th, followed by Shane Dawson's video posted on the same day. Then moving into Tati's video posted on June 30th. And then finally, Jeffree Star's video posted on July 18th. Now, while we're analyzing these things, I'm going to be doing my skincare and removing my makeup. I did a little bit of cute boy glam today. A lot of people told me they wanted just a normal kind of goofier makeup video as opposed to an analysis. Every time I post one of those, there seems to be a very low interest from my community.
Aren't I always in the studio working on music that nobody buys?
So if that sounds like something you're interested, then just keep on watching. So firstly, we're going to analyze the Instagram story posted by Jeffree Star on June 19th, 2020. As stated in my previous video about influencer apologies and such, apology videos on YouTube will always follow a persuasive speech structure because whoever is delivering the speech is attempting to potentially justify their action or potentially persuade you into giving them the benefit of the doubt again. According to the British philosopher Stephen Toulmin, basic arguments within persuasive speeches tend to share three common elements. The data, which is basically the evidence or the things that will support the claim, which is the statement the person is arguing for, as well as the warrant, which is an informed statement. It's basically the claim and the data mixed together to make the main point or thesis of the argument. That's the Toulmin model of persuasion.
Very good.
Now, when I was watching this Instagram story, I wanted to compartmentalize everything into these three different categories. And I noticed to do this, I had to apply something called inductive reasoning. Hold on, chat, let me...
Roaches!
This is kind of off topic, but the one-size makeup dissolving mist is like the best thing ever.
Like truly?
Anyways, according to section 16-8 of the textbook, inductive reasoning moves from a specific example to a more general claim. I had to apply deductive reasoning to properly analyze this video because the claim is actually implied. It's never blatantly stated, whereas the data is blatantly stated. Basically, many little things are referenced and said in this video, but the broad general application of them is never actually stated. So when I began to take notes on this Instagram video, I found that the data being referenced was the following. The speaker acknowledged the fact that this incident had happened in 2004.
In 2004. Yes, 2004.
Then they referred to similar uses of the word Nazi within pop culture.
On the show Seinfeld, someone was a super Nazi if you were a crazy cook.
And then basically elaborated on the time frame in which this website was active, stating the URL was only up for a few weeks.
That same week, it really did not sit well with me even back then. I dissolved the site.
Now, this is what would be known as a fallacy, and yes, that's a real word, because this statement is not entirely true. It was disproven through counter evidence. We're not gonna get into that though.
Very good tea.
Like I said earlier, the claim is never actually stated, but it is implied through the data. The implied claim of this set of data is likely that these actions were understandable. Now, the warrant of this video, basically combining that claim with the data, would be that the speaker is sorry and expresses regret for these actions, but heavily implies that these actions were understandable by citing slang. Now, looking at the audience reaction to this,
Let me ask the audience.
we can see that it was not quite satisfactory. Well, it seems to me a common pattern people had in criticizing this speech was going after the warrant. The implication that these actions were understandable by citing slang. This is the thing that most people seem to take issue with. The notion that these actions were understandable due to the setting. If we were to use this logic in another situation, we could see how it actually falls apart quite quickly. Imagine you're shopping at a Target. If everyone in the store, everyone around you just starts taking shit off the shelves and runs out of the store. Oh, he's stealing! If you also participate in this and basically steal from the store, regardless of how many other people were doing it in that exact moment, that doesn't change the fact that you still committed theft. Surprising! And if caught, you shouldn't expect your punishment or sentencing to be any less severe. So I just stepped out and cleansed my face really quick with the Bounce Back Jelly Cleanser from e.l.f. I love this cleanser. It's great for a little double cleanse. No makeup wipes for me today. No ma'am. Now I'm gonna exfoliate with this Tatcha sample I got like 3 years ago. So now let's move into an analysis of Jenna Marble's video. This video was posted on June 26th and it is completely unrelated to the situation going on with Jeffree Star and Shane Dawson. Now this video is actually quite interesting because the things presented in this video would have gotten anyone else canceled. The speaker confesses and acknowledges videos of blackface, racial comments, things like that. You what? Now, this video seemed to garner a very positive response from the audience. The timing and kind of audience attitude going into this video was very important to consider. I'll fully articulate on that when we're analyzing the next video because it ties into that one as well. But another thing I noticed was this isn't actually a persuasive speech. It actually follows a different format known as an informative speech. This is because when I was attempting to take notes and find the structure of the argument, I wasn't really able to do so because the entire video was missing a claim, whether or not implied or blatantly stated. It's more an informative, almost description of multiple different events that had occurred. The speaker was not really attempting to justify any of these actions under the guise of it being a different time or it being understandable, which is a tactic many people seem to be using. She was basically just describing these instances and apologizing for them one by one and leaving it pretty much at that.
So as you can see, I said, hey ching chong wing wong, shake your King Kong ding dong. Sorry that was racist, I'm bad at rap songs.
Girl, what the fuck?
It's awful, it doesn't need to exist. It's inexcusable, it's not okay. I'm incredibly sorry if this offended you. Then, now, whenever. It doesn't need to exist. It shouldn't have existed. I shouldn't have said that.
The lack of any clear claim, thesis, or warrant turned out to be actually a great strength for this video. Whenever a persuasive speech is being countered, usually the warrant or the claim is the thing people will take issue with, as the data portion can only be refuted by submission of counter evidence.
That's not how it works. That's not how any of this works.
That is not correct. Because according to the encyclopedia...
Just the way this video was structured, and I'm not saying it was done so intentionally, but just the way it is structured, it's almost impossible to nitpick because there's no opinion or clear thesis or any kind of claim. Doing so in the structure typically associated with informative, explanatory speeches as opposed to persuasive. So I've been using this tretinoin prescription cream. I think it's cute. I get kind of like this pulsing burning sensation whenever sunlight touches my face. I always put on sunblock after I use this, but it's nighttime, so I'm not going to do that. Now, let's move into analyzing Shane Dawson's video entitled Taking Accountability, which was posted on June 26th, the same day as the Jenna Marble's video. That's an important aspect to note because the speaker in this video, the speaker being Shane Dawson, references Jenna Marble's video and says that he's inspired by it.
I saw Jenna Marble's video, and it really inspired me.
So assuming that these videos were created to be quite similar, there is actually quite a contrast in the audience's response.
Interesting.
Very good.
Very bad.
And I attribute this difference to a likely difference in audience type. You know, I said in the Jenna Marble section I would elaborate on that, and I'm going to do that now. According to section 16.6 of the textbook, there are 3 different kinds of audiences. A receptive audience is one that is generally supportive or open to the point you're trying to make. Then a neutral audience is an audience that is not passionate about the topic or speaker. This audience needs to be persuaded into listening to the speaker. This can be done easily through attention-grabbing statements or hooks. Then lastly, a hostile audience is one that takes issue with the topic or the speaker. In this instance, before you can actually deliver your speech, you would need to persuade people into listening to you and taking you seriously, basically building your ethos. Now, I spoke very briefly about the 3 proofs in a previous video I did. Basically, there's ethos, logos, pathos, but ethos is your credibility.
Been that bitch, still that bitch.
Basically, your ethos Your ethos ain't looking that good, queen.
No, ma'am.
This is one of a few key differences I noticed between Jenna Marble's video and the video we're speaking about right now. When Jenna Marbles made her video, she had not previously been dragged or exposed on Twitter. Effectively, for many people, including myself, the things she was referencing in that video were actually completely new to me. So it was actually quite beneficial for word of these very serious allegations and things to come from Jenna Marbles herself, a confession as opposed to a response to an allegation. I'm bringing this up because it's important to note that going into this video, going into this situation, the fact that her ethos or credibility had not been damaged most likely means that the audience was receptive. The difference with Shane Dawson's video is, as opposed to a confession, it is more a response to an allegation. Basically, he was being dragged.
Drag her. Slay her.
And this is important to note because it greatly damaged his ethos. This led to a hostile audience situation, and instead of convincing people and citing logical reasons to basically build his ethos back up again, he directly went into the speech he wanted to give and went into the points. Another key difference between these two videos was the use of something known as a dissociative speech tactic. A dissociative speech tactic is a method of coercion that uses certain language to attempt to sever the link between two or more connected things.
I shouldn't have said that. Ever.
Very good.
That person was filled with sadness.
I hate to say it. I hope I don't sound ridiculous. I don't know who this man is. I mean, he could be walking down the street.
Throughout the video, language such as that person, as well as the third person pronouns, are used when referring to the speaker's past self.
Sucking dick and cock.
You guys are gonna love this one. I'm misting my face with this Norwegian calendula flower water. I feel so bougie. And then I ordered this on AliExpress. This is like an ultrasonic face spatula. There we go.
There we go.
So now we're going to look into Tati's video. So one thing I found...
What the fuck is going on?
It feels so hot when it's like going. Okay, so we're not going to use the face vibrator for now. But anyways, I was able to form a Tolman chart for this speech. So it definitely is structured in a way that is persuasive as opposed to informative. Now, one thing that's interesting about this video is the data segment is pretty much made up entirely of personal testimony. To put it in very gay internet terms, she didn't drop any receipts. She basically just told us about her firsthand experience. Now, for this kind of data to be effective, for personal testimony to be an effective source of data, ethos is required. You need some credibility in order for this to be an effective set of data to make your claim. And based on the community or audience's extremely poor reaction to this video, we can infer that the speaker's ethos or credibility had been previously damaged before this video.
Sucking dick and cock.
Which certainly does fit some of the comments and tweets I've been seeing about this video.
I'm here again to break my silence as a 56-year-old woman participating in YouTube drama.
It's not funny. It's really not funny.
Child. Anyways.
But yes, so the data presented in this video is primarily made of personal testimony. The claim is that the speaker was manipulated into doing certain things, and the warrant of the video, basically the combination of the data and the claim presented in this video, would be that according to personal testimony, the speaker was manipulated and not entirely responsible. Now, as I just stated, there is a huge problem with the credibility, the ethos of the personal testimonies provided, and as litigative as I may sound right now, the internet isn't always a litigative place. Personal testimony is not always admissible in some cases, and this very well, my hunch is that this very well may be that situation. We can say that her word effectively wasn't enough to fully support the claim or the warrant, so it was very easy for people to poke holes in this argument. My opinion, not about any of this drama, but what I think would have made this video much better would be a little hint of logos. Just a little sprinkle.
Where's the flavor in it?
That would definitely be necessary in this situation to enrich the data segment of this speech, thus strengthening the claim and the warrant, because it's very easy to poke holes in this style. A lot of crying.
I'm gonna go for now.
It's disgusting. It's awful.
Alright, so last but not least, we're going to be looking at Jeffree Star's video posted on July 18th entitled Doing What's Right.
Spill the tea, girl.
Let me put my glasses on for this one too. Anyways, within my notes, the first thing I wanted to bring up about this video was the actual composition and the visual aspect. As soon as I clicked on this video and began to take notes, the first thing that became apparent was all of the white space within the composition. This white space is actually an effective way of drawing attention back to the focus point. The focus focus point being Jeffree Star sitting on the couch. Section 13.7 of the textbook references a layout pattern known as the rule of thirds. The rule of thirds is heavily used throughout this entire video. We can see this because the top and sides of the bench perfectly align with the central quadrant, as well as the speaker being perfectly framed between the two central lines. I'm bringing this up because when I watched a lot of other people's analysis of this video, a major thing they brought up was the setting and kind of like what was going on in the background and all that. My belief is it was done to create the white space to draw attention back to the speaker. But now actually looking at the structure and content of the video, this was actually quite an interesting video for me to work with, because when I was attempting to find any potential structure or implied arguments, I wasn't actually able to do so. Imagine if videos like this were like essays. This video felt like to me as if the speaker were just reading the topic or the first sentence of each paragraph, but not actually reading the body. This is what's known as the fallacy of suggestion, basically making a claim about an issue you don't want to bring up or fully articulate. This video has a claim and potential warrant, it's just completely lacking any data. Basically, the speaker makes a lot of bold claims but doesn't want to elaborate on them, not even referring to the topic in detail, in fact merely referring to it as the situation in air quotes.
This situation, this situation, this situation, this situation.
You know, that's the fallacy of suggestion, basically making a claim about something you aren't willing to actually go into.
Get into it!
The speaker jumps around to many different topics, but doing so without actually providing supportive material to the previous claim. And even though this was more of a statement video, somehow the speaker did manage to employ multiple different fallacies without actually making a claim.
Constant lowering the bar for assault.
So the first fallacy I want to bring up is known as the ad populum. Some refer to this as an appeal to popularity. This was employed when the speaker references Breonna Taylor.
Breonna Taylor still has no justice.
Racism is bad.
Basically implying that there are bigger things going on, so we should just completely forget about all this. That is a very important issue, but given the fact that it was irrelevant to bring up at that time, especially as supporting material for a remark or claim, we can say that the supporting evidence of this argument is a mere appeal to popular opinion. The second fallacy that I noticed was known as the tu quo que. Now, I don't want to toot my own horn here, but in the first Jeffree video I made about this, I referenced this exact fallacy and predicted he would most likely use it to combat these criticisms.
Ooh, I feel like I earned a degree.
Imagine how tired we are of it.
Nothing new, nothing changed, same old shit. Same old fucking shit.
Basically, the tu quo que fallacy is reflecting the criticism back onto the criticizer or the audience or the opposition. An example of this would be to say something like, oh, I may have a drinking problem, but you smoke too much. You can see why this is a fallacy because it's not actually useful in progressing the argument or potentially reaching a solution. The tu quo que fallacy was used in certain remarks such as we all need to take accountability for our actions.
We have to all take accountability for our own actions and no one else's.
I have to laugh. I'm sorry. This is so ridiculous.
Third person pronoun as well as saying we. Given that the topic of this statement was the speaker's own independent actions, it would be a little bit irrelevant to bring up other people's accountability. Another reason people took issue with this speech is the potential use of coercive tactics. According to section 1610 of the textbook, y'all are probably tired of hearing me say that, coercion is the process of altering thoughts and behaviors in deceptive and harmful ways, as opposed to logical and factual ways within persuasion. An example of this would be pretending to be hurt so someone does something for you. As opposed to merely talking to them and convincing them to do something for you, you merely pretend to be hurt in order to exploit their empathy and take advantage of that emotional response.
And I was in a very dark place. It started to get really dark in my head.
That person was filled with sadness, filled with anger about their own issues.
I'm just kidding. Could you imagine?
Biggest thing people seem to suspect coercion from was the use of Black Lives Matter and Breonna Taylor within this video. It would be suggestive of emotional and ethical coercion. Basically, the speaker is implying that just because there are bigger issues, we should ignore his. Imagine if a burglar was arrested on the same day as a murderer, and in the cop car or in the county jail or at the police station or whatever, the burglar said, oh, you guys captured a murderer today. You have bigger things to worry about, so you should just release me. You can see that when you begin to deconstruct this logic and apply it to a hypothetical, the fallacies really begin to jump out.
And that's period.
Alright, but that's about it for this video. I really hope you guys learned something, and I hope that you can find your own unique way to apply these things to your everyday life. So if you're arguing with a bitch, just tell her, that's a tu quo que fallacy.
Not on my watch.
But anyways, I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.
I'm gonna go for now.